what's up? I I think that's the so I should more than anything else actually I should put this countdown going that it's working. Now yeah, I can actually go and check if the audio is working. I think it should. Yeah. Wow. Sometimes I forget that it somehow sounds so good. It's so amazing, brother. Anyways, I have like way too many windows open. I think it's going to lag. Is it not lagging? We we're actually good. We're actually very good. Let me let me close the stuff anyways. Close up. Close up? I don't think that's the proper term. Anyways. Okay. That's that. Let me see. Does this now it lags when it has to load the scene, it lags. Anyways, it works, I think. I almost, I wouldn't say perfectly, but good enough. Well enough, I guess, is the proper expression. So yeah, that's s- sort of nice, I assume. Um, so what am I don't know. I think we don't really have that much to say today. It's quite a nice existence, having the possibility of continuing to just consume knowledge. I guess I don't know. It's I think it doesn't happen enough in any other situation. That I had to pin this message. I knew I was forgetting something. Can I pin it? That's also what I wanted to test. Uh, remove it at the end of the stream. Now, let me see. If I refresh, does this actually stay? Do I have to change it? What's up with that? Can I trust Twitch system? Is it something trustworthy or something like that? It's sticky, yeah. And duration after, yeah, manually. Oh, it works through height. So I don't know. I don't think I should actually. I do have something to say. I remember having thought about it. Yeah, it happened also last time. I should probably at some point in that same message that I've been put something that says, "Wow, yeah, this is and a schedule for this week or something like that." I don't know. I never do that. I kind of forget to do that. I don't think it's all that bad, but anyways, the point is here we are. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't really have much more to say in any other kind of scenario. So yeah, good morning. Here we are. It's a nice occasion to continue analyzing, reading, exploring, observing what the Mahabharata might say. So yeah, it's time to just keep on progressing with the analysis. I think it's funny enough to see that yeah we have already moved quite a little bit. I think more than anything else since this year began, we have done like at least 2 or 3%. I think around 4% of the whole book is what we have read this year. 4 or 5. I don't exactly remember when did we in which page did I live since the last big sprint that I did. But yeah, this year we have been slowly going through the text. I guess it is still yeah quite complicated to have way too many possible explanations for stuff, so it ends up taking quite a long time to actually interpret what we are reading in any correct way, or certainly most useful way. I think it's also something funny. Personally, I wasn't really expecting that, to see that. Yeah, we end up having many possibilities of just reading something and then going off on a possible analysis of what is being read. That it can take very well, or it can very easily take up a long enough period of time so that it ends up being more than interesting to keep on trying. In that sense, it's having so many possibilities of interpretation and whatnot is good, basically. So yeah, that's that's what's happening today. I guess that's what we are going to be continuing. I remember we finished like one of the many tiny narrations. We're still in the. Let me try to recapitulate everything. So far, it seems to be that yeah, we have the main group of characters that we always follow around, the Pandavas, aka the good guys. They fight against the Gurus, the Guru clan, and whatnot. And yeah, basically, we are seeing now how the Pandavas are talking about different, I think it is myths and traditions and whatnot. How they are talking about that with a very wise person and such. So yeah. Anyways, let's see. Let's continue. We have we have a book to try to finish. I don't know. At this rate, I think having to truly approximate, I assume that based on how long it has been taking, most probably we're going to be finished with this book in like 2028 or so. It's so long, man. Anyways, let me actually start. Canto 231. Draupadi Satyabhama Samdava Parva. But Sampayana continued. When the Brahmanas and the noble sons of Pandu are seated, Draupadi and Satyabhama enter the hermitage, their hearts filled with rare bliss. The two princesses laugh merrily and sit together at their ease. Rahan, these Devis, who always speak sweetly to each other, are meeting after a long time and begin to exchange many heroic and delightful tales of the Gurus and the Yadus. The slender waisted Satyabhama, favorite wife of Krishna and daughter of Satrahit, speaks privately to Draupadi and says, Daughter of Draupada, how do you manage to rule the sons of Pandu? The strong and handsome Kshatriyas were like lords of the earth. Lovely one, weren't they so obedient to you and never angry with you? Pandu's sons are always submissive to you and ever eager to do your bidding. Tell me how this is so. Do you practice vratas or tapasya? Do you chant mantras or take secret herbs during your menstrual period? Is there something that you do? Or is it the effect of your youthfulness? Do you chant hermetic incantations and bewitchments? Or perform special homers? Or use medicated salves and potions? Tell me, Princess of Panchala, what auspicious means I can use to make Krishna ever obedient to me? Chaste Draupadi says to the illustrious Satyabhama, you ask me, Satyabhama, about the means that Bates women use. How can I tell you what these are? It is not fitting, Devi, to answer these questions or for you to doubt me, because you are intelligent and Krishna's favorite wife. The husband who discovers that his wife uses incantations and intoxicating physics begins to be in dread of her, as if she were a serpent hiding in his bedchamber. How can a man who is beset with fear have peace, and how can one who has no peace have happiness? happiness. A wife can never ensure her husband's obedience by chanting mantras. We hear of painful diseases being transmitted by our enemies. Indeed, they that want to kill others send a poison disguised as gifts, so that the man who imbibes the drug so sent by tongue or skin soon dies. Women have been known to cause the body to bloat through the retention of fluids, leprosy, anemia, impotence, insanity, blindness, and deafness in men by administering drugs to them. These evil and sinful women sometimes disable their husbands for good. The wife shall never do the least injury to her lord. But listen now to the way I conduct myself with the great soul sons of Pandu. I set aside vanity and controlling desire and anger. I serve them with devotion. I control my envy and with deep, heartfelt love, and without feeling that the duties I perform are degrading in any way, I wait upon them. I never say anything that is evil or false. I am careful never to sit or look or walk with impropriety. I am always careful never to let my eyes reveal what is in my heart. This is how I serve Pandu's sons. My Kshatriya husbands were like the sun or fire. They are radiant as the moon, and they are endowed with fierce energy and prowess and can kill their enemies with a mere look. My heart does not turn towards any other, be he Deva, Manava, or Gandharva, whatever, whether he is young or decked with ornaments, wealthy or handsome. I never wait or eat or sleep before my husbands have. In fact, not until after our attendants have done so. Wherever they may be returning from, be it field, forest, or town, I quickly get up and greet my husband with water to wash and a seat to rest on. I always keep the house and all the things in it, and the food tidy and clean. I am careful in preparing the rice and serve them food at the proper time. I never use angry words or sulk, and I never imitate women that are wicked. Setting aside sloth, I always do what pleases them. I never love falsely, but only at something genuinely amusing, and I never loiter by the gate. I never stay long in the waiting room or in the gardens attached to the house. I always refrain from laughing too loudly. I never indulge in uncontrolled passion. I avoid everything that might offend. Satyabhama, I am in constant attendance on my lords. I am never happy when apart from them. When my husband leaves home to see a relative, I renounce flowers and perfumes and keep vratas. Whatever my husband does not drink or eat or enjoy, I do not either. Beautiful princess decked in ornaments, guided constantly by the instruction imparted to me by my elders, I devotedly seek the welfare of my lords. My mother-in-law, Kunti, told me of my duties, and with, with regard to many aspects of married life, with regards to relatives, almsgiving, offering worship to the gods, oblations to the deceased, boiling food in pots on auspicious days to offer to ancestors and guests. She taught me about reverence and service to those that deserve our attention. These and all else that I know about, I observe and practice conscientiously, day and night, fixing my heart on humility and the lawful path of Dharma. I serve my gentle, truthful, and virtuous husbands, thinking of them as snakes that can flare up in anger at the least provocation. The wife's virtue is based on her devotion to her husband. The husband is the wife's god and her refuge. Indeed, there is no other refuge for her. Under these circumstances, how could a wife hurt her lord? Even in the smallest way, I never act against the wishes of my husband. In sleeping or eating, or in the way I adorn myself, I am always guided by them. I never speak ill of my mother-in-law. Blessed one. My husbands have become obedient to me because of my diligence, my alertness, and because of the humility with which I serve my betters. Every day, I myself serve Kunti, revered and truthful mother of these Satrayas, with food and drink, and fetch her clothes for her and help her dress. Never do I indulge in my own preferences over hers in food or in dress. Never do I reproach that princess who is as forgiving as the earth herself. Yudhishthira used to feed 8,000 Brahmanas every day in the palace on golden plates. He used to care for 80,000 Snataka Brahmanas leading the lives of Grihastas with 30 serving maids assigned to it. Besides these, he used to send such a big food in plates of gold to 10,000 celibate yatis. I would worship all these Brahmanas who recited the Vedas with food, drink, and clothing taken from our stores after dedicating a portion to the Biswadeva. The illustrious son of Kunti had 100,000 finely attired personal serving maids, wearing lambent bracelets and golden necklaces, colorful garlands, and a profusion of resonant jewelry, and anointed with sandalwood paste. The gold bedecked maids were all skilled in singing and dancing. I knew their names and recognized them all. I knew who they were and what their duties were. Kunti's most intelligent and brilliant son also had 100,000 maid servants to take care of feeding his guests, with plates of gold in their hands. While Yudhishthira lived in Indraprastha, 100,000 horses and as many elephants would follow him in his entourage. These were the possessions of Yudhishthira when he ruled the world. It was I, princess, who regulated their numbers and framed the rules by which they lived. I listened to any complaints about them. I knew everything that the maid servants of the palace did or did not do, and about the other servitors, including the royal cowherds and shepherds, blessed and noble one. I alone kept the accounts of the king's income and the expenditure and the sum of his wealth. Those bulls among the Maharajas gave me the responsibility of looking after all their dependents, who paid me their respects. This burden, which was heavy and could not be borne by someone with an evil heart, I shouldered day and night, sacrificing my own ease and remaining lovingly devoted to my husbands all the while. And while my husbands were engaged in the pursuit of Dharma, I managed their treasury that was inaccessible as Varuna's ever-brimming ocean. Often knowing hunger and thirst, all day and night I will serve the Guru Princess, and I knew no difference between night and day. I was the first to awake and the last to sleep. This, O Satyabhama, is the charm I used to make my husbands obedient to me. This is what I know. Never have I resorted to the spells or intoxicants of wicked women, nor do I ever wish to use them. Quickly, contrite now, Satyabhama says, Oh, Panchali, among friends, light-hearted conversations happen naturally and without forethought. Yet I am to blame. Yakanaseni, forgive me. That's Canto 231. I don't know. It mostly centers. I don't even exactly understand from where is this coming from. Like, how did we transition? The last thing was a discussion about what was it? A story of a certain butcher that was incapable of lying and whatnot, and different how different the deities. Ah, yeah, yeah. They basically rounded up the last time with finally explaining to Hestira which deity he was being. Yeah, he was. a reincarnation of basically how I yeah Draupadi and Satyabhama enter the hermitage. It's like just yeah just a normal conversation, I guess, a more feminine conversation. I don't know. I think it's unavoidable to some degree. It's as always sort of complicated to talk out all of this. I don't have the capacity to really shut some aspects of this. I feel, for example, let me say like this. I think it's an understandable explanation of what the role of the feminine plays in the ancient society of this particular culture unavoidably, but at the same time, I do not think in itself it is good enough to be taken as a complete mythological creation of what they were. It's rather a very rapid explanation of what the average woman should have aspired to be, so to speak. It was all the different areas in which, in this case, by the embodiment of this, what's her name? Can I can I can I see the name? Was it? But it was Panchali, Draupadi. Okay, yeah, yeah, Draupadi. How Draupadi, being the carrier of the metaphor, symbolizes what I guess all women into some degree should aspire to be. I guess that's like the imposed part of this idea. I think, yeah, to some other degree, it's also very fun to have heard that one line, particularly about how they somehow utilized this depiction of deities and what's not. And they forced the woman to see the, the husband in the relationship as a sort of proto deity, so to speak, that deserved as much adulation as the rest of the deities. It's sort of, I guess, weird. I I still need to keep on exploring that. I think so far I haven't had a true encounter with a sufficient enough explanation as to why they have this dynamic of roles and whatnot. But at the same time, the point is not exactly just that. The point is also many other things are given and also being discussed sort of silently or indirectly. Like how, for example, I was just when we were reaching, I think like I don't know the fourth to last or third to last paragraphs, I realized, wow, yeah, there are also these other aspects that the female plays a role in or participates in that sort of are still very much the same as what we have nowadays. There is this funny ways that it, it, it gets described here about how in some capacity the yeah, the feminine archetype has to take care of certain businesses, even of the husband in some way. It's complicated, I guess. It's it's understandable. I don't think it's not understandable, but it's still complicated in the way of wow, yeah. We certainly don't share that much with that one culture. It's mostly a good show, a good piece of evidence to remember that yeah, we do have quite a lot of differences in all of these dynamics and whatnot. But it's fine anyways. It's not like it is any kind of issue or anything like that. It's just that yeah, you wouldn't I don't know, yeah. What I was also trying to say, I do feel like there is some part of it that forgets about the whole role of the woman. No, not exactly like that. It doesn't capture properly what a woman might be trying to say. Let me say it like that. I don't know if it makes complete sense, but I'm trying to go for the perspective of okay, in many cases, descriptions and stuff of that sort, I guess tingle something. I don't really know how. Yeah, I don't have a proper way to describe it. It's just that gut sensation of wow, yeah, it's not a bad paragraph, but I do not feel like it was written. you know, it's talking about some things that I think are incredibly weirdly structured in the way in which they are being presented. They talk about, oh yeah, me as a woman in a way in which doesn't sound natural at all. I think I have seen, for example, when it relates out the warriors or the men in general, it can more directly explain it. Here, I think it's like one of the first also instances in which they even get mentioned. So I don't know. I think in general, that's the feeling that I always have. I don't exactly understand why they read it in such a way. But anyways, the point is we read it and we have still more to keep reading. So let me read, drink some water and after that we continue. But yeah, the point is that was 231. Now 232. Yeah. Draupadi Satyabhama Sambada Parva continued. Draupadi says, I will teach you how to capture your husband's heart without deceit. Beloved friend, if you do as I say, you will draw your lords away from other women. In all the worlds, including Devaloka, there is no god equal to one's husband. When he is pleased with you, he will grant you all your wishes. But when he is angry with you, he is angry, you will lose them all. It is the husband that gives the wife her children, and he gives her the things that she enjoys. He gives soft beds and comfortable chairs, clothes and garlands, perfumes, great frame, and heaven itself in the hereafter. As a wife, it is not easy to find happiness. Indeed, the chaste woman always gains happiness through hardship. Always adore Krishna by offering him your friendship and love, and by cheerfully accepting physical hardship. Make him sit comfortably in a well-wrought seat. Bring him the best garlands and perfumes. Serve him promptly, and by this he will devote himself to you, realizing that you love him truly. As soon as you hear your lord's voice at the gate, arise from your chair and stand in the readiness in your chamber. And as soon as you see him enter, worship him by leading him to a soft chair and fetching him water towards his feet. Even when he commands a maidservant to do something, get up and do it yourself. Let Krishna understand your mind and know that you love him with all your heart. Satyabhama, do not tell the others of anything your Lord says to you, even if it is nothing that needs to be kept secret. For if any of the other wives were to speak of it to him, he might become annoyed with you. Do whatever it is in your power to make those he loves happy, and always work for his benefit. Take care to stay away from those who oppose him, who want to hurt him, and from deceitful persons in general. Remain composed and alert at all times, without showing any emotion in the presence of men. Mask your feelings with silence. Do not stay alone. Private conversations with any men, not even your sons Pradyumna and Sandamba. You should cultivate friendships only with women that are of noble birth and pure hearts, who are devoted to their lords. Shun women that are bad tempered, addicted to wine, gluttonous, who are prone to stealing, or wicked and fickle. Such conduct is reputable and augurs prosperity. It can ally hostility and it leads to swarga. So, deck yourself in garlands and ornaments, rub unguents and perfumes on your body, and worship your husband. That's Canto 232. What's I don't know. Yeah, it's it's going to be a hard part of the Mahabharata to go through. I don't know. It doesn't feel written in a in a natural way. It's I think I can say it from this perspective. I think that as always there are some definitions and what's not that are utilized on what we can analyze that directly conflict with what we know. So yeah, I think it's quite surprising to see so many of those things that it strictly describes as mentally instantly flare up and think, wow, yeah, this might actually be utterly wrong. I don't want to spend the whole day arguing with one or two paragraphs just to try and say, no, yeah. But this idea is wrong. It's ultimately useless. I I think it's understandable as a reaction, but I don't think it's all that useful in itself. The point is, yeah, I don't know. I think that there are many descriptions that I find throughout these narrations that replicate themselves in the rest of the story in a way in which it, more than anything else, allows allows the mode of representation of the existence of a female to be denoted more easily than anything else as a real submission. It has way too many descriptions that forget at all. I wouldn't say exactly necessity, not as an obligation. I don't think you can institute something like that as an obligation in this case. It truly seems to be like women are utterly inferior in this case, in this context, in this particular mode of talking about them. So I don't think it's possible to talk about in any sense of proper representation. But what is still weird is to see, and even when it tries to be somewhat good, there are these moments of, oh yeah, you know what? We have these other definitions, we have these conversations, we have all of this other stuff that can somewhat be, I guess, minimally good to try and guide around, to try and describe what we're exploring. But the given definitions make it sound, once again, only like a distant explanation given not by a. Yeah, this is what I was trying to say before. That's why it doesn't feel like a woman. It's being narrated as, yeah, this thing needs to happen. But I do not say it with true understanding of the reason behind why it is there. It sounds more just like an argument of, oh yeah, this thing has to be this way, or else I will suffer. And I am so basic as a creature that I can only justify myself through that. I have seen, we have read here other encounters with stuff related to divinities and functions and one and whatnot, and yeah, in this case, it's quite obvious that it lacks quite a lot, man. It's very bare bones. There are not enough justifications for things. I don't find enough text explaining the rules, what I was saying before. But yeah, still, the idea is understandable. Be, as I said it, you want a more modern type of language, be more submissive and be more willing to be servicial to the other person and whatnot, and that will help. Otherwise, it might not get you exactly what you want, and then you might suffer. The description, yeah, also part of the accepted reality is that there will be consequences for you if you don't make the person that you binded yourself to happy. So I don't know. It's once again, it's incredibly basic. It doesn't really have that much to it. But yeah, let me continue. Anyways, we have to. I just out of curiosity, how long is all of this? Ah, it's only three cantos. I was like, I don't truly believe it's going to be all that long. It's impossible. They truly haven't talked about women at all in the story. You're not going to tell me that out of nowhere now we're going to do so in this way. Didn't happen. I don't think it's going to happen right now. And something funny that has happened has all of the mentions of them has been very indirect. Like, oh yeah, they exist in the stories of men in general. I guess sadly it shows that the writers didn't know how to talk about women in that sense. But anyways, continuing. Canto 233. Draupadi Satyabhama Sambhada Parva continued. By Sampayana said, by this time, having spoken of many pleasant matters with the noble Pandavas and the Brahmanas with Markandeya at their head, and having bid them farewell, Krishna mounts his chariot and calls for Satyabhama. Satyabhama embraces Draupadi longingly and says to her, Krishna, let there be no anxiety or grief for you. You have no reasons to spend the sleepless nights, because you will surely regain the air that you, your godlike husbands, will subdue. Oh, black-eyed one, women who have your character and the auspicious marks that you do can never suffer misfortune for long. I have heard it said that you and your husbands will surely enjoy this earth in peace and free from all troubles. Draupadi, you will see Yudhishthira ruling the world after he has slain the sons of Dharatirashtra and avenged their cowardly deeds. You will soon see those Kuru wives who loved shamelessly as you when you were going into exile, reduced to helpless despair. Be aware, Krishna, that all those that hurt you in any way while you were in that miserable condition have already died. Your valiant sons, Yudhishthira's Pradvindya, Bhima's Sutasoma, Arjuna's Srutakarma, Nakula's Satanika, and Sahadeva's Srutasena are well and have become skilled warriors. Like Abhimanyu, they all live happily in delightful Dvaravati. Subhadra cares for them with all her heart and rejoices in them, even as you do. She grieves when they are sad and she is joyful when they are. Pradyumna's mother, too, loves them dearly. Krishna and his son Bhanu and all the others watch over them with special affection. My mother-in-law Devaki does not spare any effort in feeding and clothing them. The Ankakas and Brishnis, including Rama and others, get great fondness for them. Lovely one, all these love your sons as much as they love Pradyumna. Having spoken thus, with warm sincerity, Satyabhama makes her way to Krishna's chariot. She first walks around the queen of the Pandavas in Prarakshina, and then climbs into the wonderful Ratha. The greatest of the Gyadavas comforts Draupadi with a smile and, bidding the Pandavas to return to their house, sets out for his own city in his chariot yoked to swift horses. Yeah, that's Canto 233. Yeah, I, I I wasn't really trying to predict it, but yeah, quite an uneventful couple of cantos. I think sadly, yeah, It has so many good things, I guess. Unavoidably, there is no other way like this one to represent, to showcase, to have, to see all of those things related to basically this whole culture. So it directly captures many things well, but yeah, at the same time there are some huge failures that it cannot for the life of itself fix in any way. And I don't think it is exactly bad, but yeah, man, what a weird thing to see how little they can write sometimes out certain stuff. I think it's, I don't know, there are way too many different topics that they cover. It's understandable that at some point they are going to have some lackings, but you'll expect that for something so primal, at least here in the West, we have quite a lengthy process of trying to talk out all of that ourselves. But here there was like no discussion of anything from that side. It was incredibly brief for no reason whatsoever. But yeah, it worked somehow, somewhat. So yeah, it's, I wouldn't say exactly fine, but it suffices at least. Anyways, I guess it's time to just continue really. Really, the last paragraph didn't even have a conclusion, so I don't know. It moves the plot. Wow. Surprising conclusion, incredible realization, I guess. I don't know. Let me. Yeah, anyways, let's start with this one. Canto 234. Hosha par. No, Hosha Yatra Parava. Hanamihaya said, after they reached the lake in Dvaitavana, how do those best of men, Brita's sons, pass their days in that forest, exposed to the inclement winter and summer, and to the wind and the sun, over Hamana? But Sampayana said, when the sons of Pandu arrive at that lake, they choose a place to set up their dwelling far from human habitation. They explore the delightful woods, pristine mountains, and picturesque river valleys. Once they have established their dwelling, many venerable rishis learned in Vedic lore visit them regularly. Those Purushottamas always receive these rishis with the utmost reverence. One day, Tara comes to the home of the Kaurava princess, a certain Brahmana who is known for his eloquence. He converses with the Pandavas for a while, and then leaves them and goes to the court of the Haratirashtra, son of Vichitravirya. The old king of the Kurus receives him with respect, and when the Brahmana is seated, asks him about the sons of Dharma, Vayu and Indra, and about the twins, sons of the Aswins. The Brahmana tells him of their pitiful state, emaciated from their hardships and by the wind and sun. The Brahmana also tells the king about Krishna, how intense her suffering is, and says that she is bereft of protection, although she has those splendid Satrayas for husbands. When he hears that the Brahmana says the Haratirashtra's soul, when he hears what the Brahmana says, the Haratirashtra's soul contracts in grief at the thought of those royal princes drowning in a river of sorrow. Trembling and sighing, he calms himself with great effort and remembers that he himself is responsible for their plight. The Haratirashtra says, Ah, how does Yudhishthira the eldest of our sons, who is truthful and pious, who is righteous in all that he does. Had a Satu who has not a single enemy, who is accustomed to sleeping on beds made of soft ranku skins, sleep now on bare ground. Oh, who he used to be woken every morning by the melodious sounds of sutas and magadhas singing his praises. That praise of the Gurus who is like Indra himself. He now rises from his rough bed, woken in the small hours by the hair-strouted beards of night. How does Brikodara, reduced by exposure to the elements and full of rage, sleep on the floor in the presence of the princess of Panchala? He shall not suffer so. Perhaps the intelligent Arjuna does not sleep at night, although he is one who can bear any pain, and who, though obedient to Yudhishthira, is pierced to the core by the memory of his elder brother's mistakes. I am certain that, seeing the twins and Krishna, and Yudhishthira and Bhima plunged in misery, Una sighs deeply, like a feared serpent, and that his anger keeps him awake through the night. The twins, too, were like a pair of gods, and who deserve great happiness, are plunged in woe and pass their nights in restless wakefulness, only prevented by Dharma and Satya from avenging the wrongs done to them. The mighty son of Bayu, who is equal to his father in strength, no doubt sighs like a serpent as well, restrains his fury, held fast by his elder brother with bonds of truth. The mightiest of warriors in battle, he now lies quietly on the ground. Thou fury rules his tameless heart, burning to kill my children. He bides his time. The cruel words that Dusasana spoke after Yudhishthira was deceitfully written at dice, have sunk deep into Vrikodara's heart and consumed him as a bundle of straw set alight engulfs a fire or dry wood. Dharmaputra never acts sinfully, and Dhanakaya always obeys him, but Bhima's Swarat, stalked by his life in exile, flares up like flames fanned by the wind. That Kshatriya who wrings his hands and breaks heart, fierce bright, as if to consume my sons and grandsons with them. When they are hungry, Arjuna and Brikodara are like Yama and Kala. They loose their swift arrows like so many thunderbolts in all directions and raise their enemies in battle. Suddenly, when Duryodhana, Sakuni, the Sutason, and evil Dusasana robbed the Pandavas of their kingdom by cheating at dice, they saw only the honey on the tree and not the terrible ruin what they did will inexorably. Man knows that his actions, good and evil, will bear their different fruit, but he is sometimes confounded by fate. How then can men find salvation, even if the earth is well tilled and the seed sown in it? Even if Indra sends his showers at the right time, the crop may still not grow. This is what we often hear. How could this saying be true unless, as I have come to realize, destiny is the ultimate master? The gambler Sakuni cheated the son of Pandu, who is always honest, and out of blind affection for my sinful sons, I, too, was guilty of vile deceit. It is for this that the Gurus now face their hours of nemesis. Or perhaps the inevitable must come to pass, for it is fated and more mysterious than we can know. The wind blows, whether meant to or not. The woman that conceives will have a child. Darkness will be dispelled at dawn, and daylight vanishes at the dusk. When the time comes, Whatever material wealth we earn, whether it is spent or saved, brings us misery. Why, then, are men so anxious to garner wealth? If what we acquire is the result of fate, do we need to safeguard it from being divided, or from being frittered away, or from being spent all at once? If left unprotected, it may dwindle into 100 portions. But whatever the nature of our possessions or actions in the world are never lost. Think of the power of Arjuna, who went to Indraloka from the forest, having mastered the four kinds of the Vastras. He has come back into this world. What man is there who, having gone to Indra's world in his human form, wishes to come back? He has returned because he sees that the destruction of the Kurus is imminent. Destiny's instrument is Arjuna, the ambidextrous archer. His bow is the Gandiva, which has no equal, besides which he now has other unearthly weapons. Who is there that can withstand the might of these three? After listening to the king, Suala's son goes to Duryodhana, who is sitting with Karna, and tells tell all that he has heard, and even the heedless Duryodhana is filled with grief. I guess we're finally getting at a point of reflection for these people, so to speak. They are finally, I wouldn't say confronting. Sorry. Canto 233, done. Now, as I was saying, no, 234, wow. As I was saying, it seems to be that, yeah, we are finally confronting the realization that comes with all of these bad actions, basically. We have seen many other descriptions, but never one in which the people themselves were conscious of what was sort of going to happen, you know? Everything was like, oh yeah, the Kurus did this because they are evil and they have evilness in their hearts and whatnot, but we never truly investigated how they were feeling and whatnot. Now we finally get a little bit of a narration from their perspective. I guess so, mostly from the perspective of their father. I think that sadly, yeah, an unavoidably sad reality is that the Kurus in themselves have an utterly complex idea. They are like 100 sons, so that makes any sort of narration in which they are included far more complicated. Also, so I don't know. But yeah, there is, I don't know, I don't think that many deep lessons in this one. I don't see that much deepness particularly. We can try to stretch what we see to make it look like it might be a sort of good indication of anything, but I don't particularly believe that it is at all something truly special. It's just different, already understood ideas like, oh yeah, you know what? Every action has a reaction. The accumulation of wealth will always bring consequences to it. What else? Stuff of that sort that are like general common observations, not much else, you know? But it's fine, basically. It's the point is that, yeah, whilst it is fine, it's truly not something necessary to dwell on. Yeah, so let's, I guess, continue a little bit more. Canto 235. Ghosha Yatra Parva continued. Vaishampayana said, after hearing what the Dharatirashtra says, Sakuni waits for his opportunity and, advised and abetted by Karna, speaks to Duryodhana. He says, you have, with your power, sent the heroic Pandavas into exile. Mahabharata You rule this earth unchallenged, just as the slayer of Sambara rules Devaloka. The king of the east, the south, and the west pay tribute to you. Prosperity once paid court to Pandu's son, but now she is the vassal of you and your brothers. My king, not so long ago, with heavy hearts without prosperity, sitting beside you at Kestira in Indraprastha, but today she is yours. You have snatched her away from Yudhishthira by dint of your intelligence. All the kings of the earth are now your subjects, and at your command, even as they were previously Yudhishthira's, and awaited on his sword. Bound as Pumidevi, girdled by her seas, adorned by her mountains and forests, her towns, cities, and mines, and decked with woodlands and hills, is now yours. Brahmanas adore you, kings worship you, and you blaze, Rahan, with the splendor of your prowess, like the sun among the devas, surrounded by the Kurus, like Yama by the Rudras, or like Basava by the Maruts. You shine like the radiant moon among the stars. Suryodhana, let us go and look at the sons of Pandu, who never obeyed anyone's commands and who never owed you subsection, who are now divested of their prosperity. We have heard that the Pandavas are living on the shore of the lake in Dvaitavana with many Brahmanas. The wilderness is their home. Go there, bested in great fortune, and scorch the sons of Pandu with the brilliance of your glory, just as the sun burns everything with his hot rays. And so the sight of yourself as a king, and of them stripped of their sovereignty, of yourself in opulence, and of them divested of it, of yourself with wealth, and of them in poverty, let Pandu's son see you, looking like Yayati, the son of Nahusha, accompanied by a multitude of followers and enjoying great bliss. O king, true prosperity is that which both friends and foes see. What civilization can be more complete than that which a man enjoys when he himself is prosperous, while his enemies are plunged in adversity? It is like the man who from his position on the mountain top looks down on the man that grovels on the plain below. Tiger among kings, the exhilaration that a man derives from seeing his enemies in grief is greater than what he does from acquiring wealth or dominion. How euphoric is he who looks upon Dananhaya wearing tribark and deer skin, while he himself is clothed in robes of richness. Let your wife, grandly attired, go see the woeful Krishna clad in bark, and add to Draupadi's sorrow. Let Drupada's impoverished daughter be filled with regret, seeing your wife taking priceless ornaments, grief far greater than what she felt in the Sabha when Dusasana dragged her there. Having spoken thus to Duryodhana, Karna and Sikuni both fall silent. Oh, Hanamihaya, the recounselender. That's Kanto. What are we on? 235? 236, I think it is. 235, okay. What's the Kanto about? I think the real message, unavoidably, in some cases, the easiest interpretation is always the direct one. In this one, I guess it's the directly opposite one of what is being presented here. We are actually talking about, yeah, all of these things are bad to do. Why? Because, as always, the gurus represent a bad side of humanity, so to speak. So it seems to be the tradition that actually what we have to do is all the opposite things of what is being described here. It doesn't matter actually if your enemy gets to see you are not doing better. It doesn't matter if your enemies. It's not that it doesn't matter. It shouldn't be a concern of anyone to make their enemies suffer even more once they are slowly doing better than their enemies. It's not. It's like a different sort of mentality in which it is fun to squish somebody's spirit to its utmost limit until they like explode, so to speak, which goes pretty much against the honor. Yeah, the honor that the whole structure of Ashatri itself tries to embody. It's a different mentality. Yes, that's why it feels like it certainly all is wrong. It doesn't serve the point or it doesn't help the argument that is trying to be made. Mostly because yeah, sadly, a true Kshatriya, a true person of honor, so to speak, doesn't have to concern themselves with all of this stuff. They shouldn't be wasting their existence in trying to make someone else suffer. That's why, in this case, we're talking about it from the perspective of, yeah, these things can be done, but they might actually be bad things to do if you decide to utilize your time on them instead of just, I guess, I don't know, the normal recommendations of the Mahabharata, observing dhyana and meditating on stuff and contemplating life and whatnot. So yeah, it's it's an understandable paragraph. I think it's followable so far, if nothing else. But yeah, yeah. I mean, anyways, let me continue. Canto 236. Kyosha Yatra Parva continued. Vaisampayana said, Duryodhana is delighted with what Karna says, but quickly he becomes melancholy, melancholic, I guess. He becomes melancholic again and says, uh, Oh, Karna, I've been thinking about what you said, but I will not be allowed to go where the Pandavas live. The Dhritarashtra grieves for those Kshatriyas. Indeed, he thinks the sons of Pandu have become more powerful than before because of their austere lives and their tapasya. Even if the king understands my motives, he will think of future consequences and never grant me leave. He will know that we have no other business in that forest than the humiliation of the exiled Pandavas. You know what Shata Vitura said to me, to you and to Subala's son Sakuni during the game of dice, bearing his words in mind, as well as the lamentations that he and others indulged in turn. I am doubtful about whether or not to go and ask the king. I shall most certainly be gratified to see Bhima and Falguna living in misery with Krishna in the jungle. The joy that I will feel in gaining sovereignty of the world is nothing compared to the rapture that will be mine on seeing Pandu's son wearing a treyarch and deer skin. Is there a greater joy than will be mine? Karna, on seeing Draupadi in the wilderness, the rest in rags? Only when Yudhishthira and Bhima see how I am graced with a vast world will my life's ambition be fulfilled. Yet I do not see a way in which I can convince the king to let me go to the forest. You, Subala's son and Dusasana, must devise a clever plan by which we can go. I, too, will decide today whether or not I shall go and see the king tomorrow. When I am sitting with Guru Satama Bhishma, it is then that you and Sakuni must propose the plan you have concocted. I will listen to what the king and Bhishma have to say and settle the matter by pleading with your grandfather for permission. Saying, so be it, they all go away to their respective mansions. In the morning, Karna comes to Duryodhana and, with a smile, says to him, I have a plan. What was it? I think it was. I have a. Oh. No, yeah, I don't actually remember. You know, I guess yeah, it was somewhere in the higher notes, I guess. I have a plan. Listen to it, O lords of men. Our herds of cattle are in the woods that fringe dry Havana. I'm sure that we can go there under the pretext of inspecting the herds, for it is fitting for kings to go frequently to their cattle stations. If you give this as a reason, your father will surely give you leave to go. Sakuni says to them, this is the simple, cunning plan that I, too, had in mind. The king will definitely give his approval for our visit to White Havana. Our heralds all wait there, expecting you. We will surely be able to go to the cattle station on the pretext of inspecting our herds and counting their numbers. The three men laughingly unclasp each other's hands. Having decided on this plan, they go to meet the king of the Kurus. I don't know. I guess it's funny to see. Yeah, sorry. That's Canto 236, I think it is. Yeah. And I think it's funny to see how much of evil people who enjoys doing bad stuff they are, and not much more, not much else. They're in itself interesting enough, and that's funny, but at the same time, it really isn't all that different in any other way, I think. From an average narration of, oh yeah, the villain cunning, creating a plan to annoy the heroes, not much else. I guess they are more of an archetype than actually nuanced characters. That's what I'm trying to say. I haven't feel, yeah, I haven't felt like the Kurus in general have had that much of a development. At least we have been reading the whole story, so we have also seen their ancestors. In their ancestors, there were a lot more details, but this actual iteration of the Kurus is quite bland. They are just like utterly evil people who likes to do bad stuff for the sake of annoying someone else. In this case, the Pandavas, who are seen as the embodiments of all that is good. Basically, by the way in which they are literally, the Pandavas are all the main deities of, yeah, of Hinduism itself. So interesting. Anyways, yes, we can probably continue a little bit more. No, let me let me see. Also, I don't know. I'm sort of finding one of those incredibly long cantos. First thing and second thing, it's yeah. I never had the custom of understanding which character has which voice. I haven't slowly tried. Have been trying to pay attention to that. From stream to stream, I still forget, but at least I think if it is possible, to some degree, it's otherwise it's pretty blunt to just rapidly read everything else. Anyways, let's proceed. Come to 237. Hosha Yatra Parva continued. But Sampayana said, Hanamehaya, as planned, they go to see King Dharatirashtra, and when they are in his presence, they ask solicitously about his welfare. In return, he asks after theirs. The three conifers have enlisted the services of a cowherd named Samagna to help them, and, as instructed, Samagna approaches the king and tells him about the cattle and that they need to be counted. At this point, Karna and Sakuni say to the Dharatirashtra, Karna and Sakuni, "Oh, Kaurava, our herds are kept in a most pleasant place. This is the time for branding." the calves. It is also an excellent time for the prince to go hunting. You must give him leave to go. The rest says. I do hunt, and an inspection for cattle are excellent ideas, my child. It is not wise to trust the herdsman completely. But we have heard that those were Sabyaharas, the Pandavas, now live in the vicinity of our herds. I think it is best that you do not go on your own. The Pandavas live in the forest because they were defeated deceitfully at times, and they suffer greatly. Karna, they are mighty warriors, and they have devoted themselves to severe tapasya. Yudhishthira will not allow his anger to flare, but Vimasena is naturally volatile, and Yagnasen is fire personified. You are proud and foolhardy, and are bound to offend them. She will burn you with the power of her Tapasya Shakti and make ashes of even armed Kshatriyas. I am also of the opinion that injuring them using a large force of warriors is sinful. Besides, I do not think you will succeed. Arjuna has returned to join them in the forest. Even before he had acquired the mastery of the divine Astra Shastra, he subdued the earth. Mighty Kshatriya that he is, and now, a master of the Devastras, will he not slay you all? Even if, in obedience to my words, you conduct yourselves carefully while you are there, you will have no peace of mind, because you will be constantly watchful. Or some soldier of yours may, even unwittingly, do some harm to you, Thishtira, for which you will be held responsible. No, let some of our trusted men go for the inspection and see to the branding of the calves. Maharata, you must not go there yourself. Sakuni says, Pandur's eldest son is well versed in Dharma. He made a pledge with our entire Sabha witness that he will live for 12 years in the forest, and the other sons of Pandu are obedient to Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira will never be angry with us. We want very much. No, wait. Sakuni, fuck. I knew it. It was. it, it, it is still right, but it is. We want very much to go hunting, and we will use that opportunity to supervise the counting of our cattle. We have no intention of seeing the Pandavas. We will be careful not to go near their dwelling. There will be no misdemeanor on our part. Now the Dharatirashtra gives his consent, albeit unwillingly, for Duryodhana and his companions to go to the forest. Permission gained. The son of Gandhari sets out, accompanied by Karna and a large army. Also with him are Dusasana, many of his other brothers, Subala's son, the clever Sakuni, and thousands of princesses. And as the prince of the mighty arms sets out for Dvaitavana, the citizens of Hastinapura, accompanied by their wives, follow him. 8,000 chariots, 30,000 elephants, 9,000 horses, and many thousands of foot soldiers are in his train, as well as moving shops and pavilions, traders, bards, and hundreds of thousands of trained hunters. As Duryodhana begins his journey, followed by this massive entourage, the uproar they make resembles the roaring of a stormy monsoon winds. When they reach the forest, Duryodhana, with his followers, his chariots and laden guards, makes camp 4 miles from the lake in Dvaitavana. Okay. I guess, is there a lesson? I don't know if there is actually a lesson, I guess. The idea is, Dharatirashtra is still, let me say like this, a very wise person. He realizes that they are probably going to get themselves killed that his sons are going to die, the Kurus are going to find their extinction. But most, I don't know if exactly here or if this is going to be at quote unquote only the beginning of that. They are going to live from this situation and they are going to return into a second final fight, encounter, and whatnot afterwards. But still, the idea is, yeah, he can sort of see that coming, predict that. I don't know if exactly be capable of responding to it, making it not happen, not to be as severe or something like that. I understand it, but I don't fully know from which direction it is coming. I I don't think there is that much of a lesson. As I said before, I think the gurus are still quite plain. They're just like, oh yeah, yeah, we have to fucking annoy them. We have to annoy the Pandavas. We have to get hard. Let's go. Let's get ourselves killed. It's going to be a good idea for some reason. But have to see. Let's try to actually see what happens. Yes, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting, but anyways, let's continue. Canto 238. Horsha Yatra Parva continued. Vasampayana said, Duryodhana passes through different parts of that forest and finally arrives at the cattle station and settles his troops there. His attendants select a familiar and pleasant wood that has plentiful water and is lush with trees, a place convenient for constructing living quarters for the king. Not too far from the royal residence, they also erect separate dwellings for Karna, Sakuni, and the king's brothers. The king sees his cattle, hundreds and thousands of them. He examines their legs and their identifying marks and supervises their counting. He supervises the branding of the calves and makes a note of those animals that need to be broken in, and he counts those cows whose scalps have not yet been weaned. Once he has marked and counted every calf less than 3 years old, the Kuru prince, surrounded by the cowherds, begins to amuse himself in the forest. His people and his soldiers enjoy themselves, even like the Devas, doing as they please. The herdsmen, who are skilled in singing, dancing, and playing instruments, and young maidens decked in ornaments pander to the pleasures of Dharatirashtra's son, who, surrounded by the women of the royal household, cheerfully distributes wealth, food, and drink amongst those who minister to him. The king and his followers hunt and kill hyena, bison, deer, ox, bear, and wild boar. The king shoots thousands of those animals in the deep forest, and he snares deer in the more light woods. Maharata, drinking milk and enjoying all kinds of delicious food, and traveling through many charming groves and woods swarming with bees drunk on the honey of flowers, and echoing with the cries of the peacock, Duryodhana eventually reaches the sacred lake of Dvaitavana. The place where the king arrives is full of bees, inebriated with pushpamrita, flower nectar, and resounds with the sweet notes of the blue sea. The glade is shaded by saptachadas and punagas and bakulas. The king, mantled in his bounty, enters that place looking like Indra, the wielder of the Vajra and the king of the Devas. O Kurustama, Yudhishthira Dharmaraja, of the mighty intellect, is at the time living close to that lake and is, with his wife Draupadi, celebrating the daily sacrifice called Raharishi in accordance with the precepts laid down for devas and forest dwellers. Duryodhana arrives near this very spot and commands his men, build pleasure palaces here without delay. The king's loyal servants say that us too, and come to the lake shore to build the edifices that the king wants. As these hand-picked soldiers reach the shore of of the lake and are about to enter the forest, a number of Gandharvas, led by their lord, appear before them and bar their way. Rahan, the Gandharva with his followers, has already come here from Kubera's kingdom, and accompanied by the several tribes of Apsaras and by the sons of the Devas, he has come for his own entertainment. He has occupied the Vana and closed it to all others. The attendants of the Guru King, finding that the Gandharva king has barred entry to the lake, go back to Duryodhana. Haughty Duryodhana hears what they say and dispatches a troop of his best warriors, difficult to defeat, and commands them to drive the Gandharavas away. These warriors, who form the vanguard of the Kuru army, come to the lake and say to the Gandharavas, the mighty king Duryodhana, son of the Haratirashtra, is coming here. Make way for him. The Gandharavas laugh in their faces and reply roughly, your evil king must have lost his mind. Why else will he command Swargavasis as if we were his servants? How foolish of you to rush here at his word to meet your decks. You are impetuous fools to dare to bring us his message. Return at once to the king of the Kurus, or else go even now to Yamaloka. Frightened by the majesty and brilliance of the Gandharvas, that force flees back to where the Haratirashtra Sumbrudkana waits impatiently. Wow, amazing canto. Astoundingly deep canto. No, yeah, I don't know. It's just a continuation of the conflict. It's, I guess, sometimes it just becomes that continuing to just see people fighting amongst themselves, this more basic level of conflict and almost, yeah, more novelesque. I think it's the proper definition. More of mode of explaining the story. It's just, oh yeah, yeah. And the guys, the gurus keep annoying and keep trying and trying and trying until they finally get a reaction out of the Pandavas. But that has been everything that we have seen for the last 3, 4 cantos at this point. It's just like all the many signals that they had to stop, all the many warnings, all the many chances to retreat. Think about it and say, yeah, you know what? I don't actually want to die. I don't know, man. I think if there is something that I don't fully understand is how they do such a bad narration at explaining why they have this death's desire almost. It's so I think it's obvious that they believe. I don't think that they have in their minds the idea that they are going to somehow win. I think that they are aware, the Kurus are aware that they are going to die. I don't understand why they push so hard for their own deaths. I sort of lack that one part of the explanation. Because it's obvious that their actions have negative consequences always. It's not such a mystery. I don't know. They are quite enigmatic characters, or at least the particular characterization that they are given is enigmatic in any way. So, no, I guess we're going to have conflict. I assume it is, anyways, not that much anyway in itself. All of these cantos are like very brief, all of them. So, I guess a little bit more. Let's see. Let's see. Canto 239. Hosha Yatra Parava continued. Vaisampayana said, Rahan, the soldiers return to Duryodhana and tell him what the Gandharvas said. The Haratirashtra's powerful son is furious, he growls. Even if they have come to sport with all the devas and with him of the 100 sacrifices, kill the imprudent Gandharvas. The Haratirashtra's sons and the commanders of his army, mighty warriors all, and thousands of foot soldiers armed for battle. They filled the air in the 10 directions with loud roars, and rushing at the Gandharvas who guard the entrance enter the Vana. Even as the Guru soldiers step into the forest, the fallen guards are replaced by other Gandharvas who appear as if by magic and forbid them to advance. Although the Gandharvas speak politely, the Guru soldiers disregard them and begin to make their way into that Vana. When the Sky Rangers find that the Haradinastra's warriors and their king cannot be stopped by words, they go to their king Chitrasena and tell him what has happened. Enraged, Chitrasena commands his followers, punish these wretches. The Gandharavas take up their weapons and charge the Haradinastra's troops. Seeing the celestial elves rushing. What? They are elves? It's the first time that I learned that they are elves. Seeing the celestial elves rushing towards them, weapons are raised, the Kuru warriors flee in all directions. Even as Duryodhana looks on, only Karna remains undeterred, while all the others turn their backs on the enemy and fly from the field. Karna stops the Gandharva force with a perfect storm of arrows. With amazing lightness of hand, the Sutaputra strikes hundreds of Gandharvas with Kshurapara arrows, palas, and weapons made of bone and iron. In no time, mighty Karna makes the heads of many Gandharvas roll, and Chitrasena's forces begin to scream in anguish in their musical voices. They are slaughtered in great numbers by Karna of the great intellect, but the Gandharvas return in hundreds of thousands. Swarms of Chitrasena's warriors are rushing headlong into battle, soon cover the field, and the earth itself seems to be filled by the unearthly host. Then, led by Karna, Prince Duryodhana, Sakuni, Dusasana, Vikarna, and the other sons of the Haratirashtra ride in chariots, the clamor of whose wheels is like the raucous cries of Garuda, attack the elves and begin to raise the Gandharva host. Eagerly behind Karna, these princes assault the Gandharva army with a great force of chariots and cavalry. Now all the Gandharva forces come to the fight against the Kauravas, and the encounter that takes place between the opposing armies is so fierce that it makes one share stand on end. At the last, afflicted by the arrows of the Kuru army, the Gandharvas appear to be exhausted, and seeing how spent the enemy is, the Kauravas send up a loud cheer. Chitrasena sees his host yielding to fear and angrily leaps up, determined to annihilate the Kuru army. Using his sublime mastery at arms and his powers of Maya, he continues the battle. The Karava warriors are bewildered by the illusions that Chitrasena invokes, which Mahabharata makes them believe that they are being attacked by Tengan Karava siege. The Guru host is struck by panic, and all those who want to live run from the field. While the entire Kaurava army breaks up and flees, Karna, son of Suryadeva, stands resolute, as immovable as a hill. Duryodhana. Karna and Saguni also fight the Gandharvas, although every one of them has been sorely wounded. The Gandharvas rush in one massed force of hundreds of thousands against Karna, bent on killing him. They surround the Sutaputra and assail him with swords, battle axes, and spears. Some dissever the yoke of his chariot, some break down his flagstaff, some his rata's shaft, some cut down his horses, and some strike his sarathi. Some fell his regal parasol, some pulverized the wooden fender around his chariot, and some its joints. Thousands of Gandharvas attack his Sarata in unison and smash it into little pieces with his sword and shield. Karna leaps out of that ruined Rata, mounts Bigarna's chariot, and lashes the horses away to save himself. That's Canto 239, I think it is. Yeah. Now, I don't know. I think that's the only word observation besides that. Yeah, unavoidably there is conflict and there is like very intense war, I guess. There were elves. I never understood that before. I actually think about that. I never understood that, yeah, the Chitrasena's people were elves in any sort of way. I wouldn't have thought that they were referring to that concept to begin with. I think that they never explicited that so well as literally that paragraph in which it says, "Oh yeah, these elves." But that it works anyways. That's good, and also that yeah, the way in which it narrates how many they are, it feels like they are almost like an actual insect swarm, like the ways in which the explanations go make it sound like they are being surrounded by millions of tiny units more than just utterly human-sized amounts of incredibly big rivals. It's it's quite enigmatic how they go about it. Also, I mean, more more than anything else, because of how they talk about things like, oh yeah, the Gandharva's focus on destroying the chariots that the guy has in a very particular way. Like he gets to have enough time to stomp off the the, the chariot, but at the same time it gets pulverized. It's so weird. It's like very. It's the proper expression, caricaturesque or something like that. Very basically animated in a certain manner. But yeah, anyways, the point is, or the most important thing itself is, yeah, everything makes sense. I guess sadly, the Gurus chose to fight the worst rival. I think that the Gandharavas are as equally or probably even more powerful than the Pandavas, so it was sort of like incredibly meaningless for them to fight the or for the Gurus to fight them. I don't know how they are going to even survive. I think what's going to happen is probably something along the lines of the Pandavas appear and say, "Stop fighting!" But anyways, let's see. Continue to 240. Hosha Yatra Parva continued. My Sampayana said, O king, when the Gandharvas succeed in chasing great Karna from field, the Kuru army scatters in panic. In the very sight of Dharatirashtra's son, although he sees his troops fleeing the battle, their backs to the enemy, Duryodhana stands his ground. He sees the mighty Gandharva warriors rushing towards him and showers them with a deluge of arrows. But the Gandharvas unconcernedly brush off his shafts and surround his chariot. With their own arrows, they chop its yoke into pieces. They shatter the shaft, the fenders, the flagstaff, the triple bamboo poles, and the axle of his Saratha, and they kill his charioteer and horses. Chitrasena sees Duryodhana flung from his ruined chariot onto the ground. The Gandharva king rushes at him and seizes him with such violence as if to wring life out of him. The Kuru king taken, the Gandharvas surround Dusasana and capture him. Some Gandharvas seize Bibimsati, some take Binda and Anubinda, while others take all the Kuru princesses and women of the royal household. Duryodhana, Duryodhana's personal guard quickly joins the men who have already fled the battle, and together they hasten to the Pandavas, who are living nearby. After Duryodhana's capture by the Gandharvas, his men who are left alive place the Kuru chariots, mobile shops, pavilions, garages, and brought animals under the protection of the Pandavas. The Kaurava soldiers saw the handsome, mighty armed son of the Dharatirashtra has been taken captive by the Gandharvas. The Gandharvas are hauling away to Sasana, Durvisa, Dharmuka, and Durgaya and James, and take him all the royal Kuru woman as well. O sons of Brita, rescue them. Wailing, Duryodhana's attendants go to Yudhishthira and beg him to save their king. Bhima says to Duryodhana's men, who are bowed with grief, the Gandharvas have done our work for us. They have done what we should have done. The Kurus came here with some vile purpose in mind, but have been thwarted by circumstances they did not foresee. This is the result of the evil intention of a deceitful king. It is said that the enemy of a powerless man is overthrown by others. The Gandharvas have, in an extraordinary way, illustrated the truth of this adage before our eyes. It appears that someone in this world still wants our welfare, and has assumed that pleasant responsibility, though we sit doing nothing. The wretch came here to gloat over us, he wallowing in prosperity, and we suck in poverty and emaciated by our austere life and the harsh elements. Those who behave like the evil-souled and wretched Kaurava are now witness to his disgrace, and he who persuaded Duryodhana to come also sinned. I say to you, it is not the sons of Kundi who are evil or sinful. Yudhishthira says sharply to Bhima, this is not time for such cruel words. Wow, infighting, if-fighting, let's go. Why are they so angry out of nowhere? Since when did they get so resentful? Weren't they the nice people? Why are they so fucking mad? Anyways, let's keep reading, thank you. It finally got interesting. Somebody needed to get almost at the point of insulting, which I never realized this whole work has like no insults besides very obvious stuff like stupid or idiot. I think there are no other insults of that sort. I actually never thought about that. Anyways, Canto 241. Hosayatra Parva continued. Yudhishthira says to his wild brother, Child, why do you speak so harshly to the frightened Kurus? You are now in adversity and who are now in adversity and who have come to us for protection. Brikotara, dissent and dispute often happen between blood relatives. Hostilities such as this do go on, but the honor of the family must never suffer. If a stranger insults the honor of a family, good men do not tolerate it. The king of the Harvas knows that we have been living here for some time, yet he chooses to ignore us and does something that we abhor. My brother, Duryodhana's capture and the insult to the woman of our house by strangers have tarnished our family honor. Dagger us among men, rise and arm yourselves without delay. We must rescue our king, who ask for our protection and protect the honor of our Kula. Purushabhyagara, Arjuna, the twins and you, all valiant and undefeated, must free Duryodhana, who has been taken prisoner. These grand chariots, equipped with golden flagpoles and with the weapons of all kinds that belong to the Dharatirashtra's sons, are here. Take them, and use Indrasena and other skilled strategies to drive them. Use all your might, to quell the Gandharvas and rescue Duryodhana. Even an ordinary Kshatriya will do his utmost to protect the one who comes to him for refuge. Brikudara, from you I can expect no less. Who amongst us is so ignoble as to ignore the plea of even our enemy when we find him begging for help with joined hands? The bestowal of a boon, sovereignty and the birth of a son are sources of great joy. But Pandavas, rescuing an enemy from peril is equal to all three put together. What can be a source of greater joy to you than Duryodhana, plunged in distress, depending on your prowess for his life? Brikotara, if the tapasya that I am now engaged in had been complete, I would have rushed to help him myself. Do your very best, O Mahabharata, to rescue Duryodhana by placating the Gandharvas. If, however, the king of the Gandharvas supports your efforts at conciliation, then you must free Duryodhana by means of a small fight. If the lord of the Gandharvas does not release the Kurus, even then you must rescue them by crushing the enemy by any means at your disposal. Bhima, I cannot say any more, for my tapasya has begun and has not ended yet. Hitting Ajatasattu, out of reverence for his elder brother, Arjuna instantly swears to liberate the Kauravas. He says, if the Gandharvas do not free the sons of the Haratirashtra peacefully, the earth will drink the blood of their king today. When the Kauravas hear Arjuna, they regain their composure. It's so keen. Finally, some war. I don't know. I have to accept. I like the conflict that they create. It's like very interesting. Also, why is this canto so short? Let's continue. Canto 244. Gosha Yatra Parava continued. But Sampayana said, listen to it, Histera. Those bull among men, led by Vimasena, arise, their faces beaming. Those mighty warriors put on impenetrable armor inlaid with gold, and arm themselves with unearthly weapons of all kinds. The Pandavas mount the Kaurava chariots with their flagstaff, and with their bows and arrows they blaze in fiery splendor. Riding those chariots drawn by the swiftest steeds, those tigers among warriors ride forth. Seeing the Pandavas riding to rescue Duryodhana, the Kuru army lets out a great cheer. Soon the Gandharvas, the Sky Rangers flush with victory, see the sons of Pandu coming after them fearlessly through the forest. The Gandharvas see the four sons of Pandu riding to battle on their chariots, and they turn back to face the Kshatriyas. The residents of Gandhamadana see the Pandavas like the radiant Lokapalas, guardians of the world, inflamed and eager for a fight. O Mahabharata, in obedience to the wise Yudhishthira's command, the first encounter is a mere skirmish. Arjuna Parantapa realizes that it has not succeeded. He says to the Gandharvas in a conciliatory tone, release my brother Suryodhana. The Gandharvas laugh aloud and reply, young man, there is only one Lord whose orders we obey, and under his rule we pass our days happily. Mahabharata, we do only what he says, and no one can command us except him. Arjuna says to them, contact with other men's wives and a fight with mortal men are reprehensible in a king of Gandharvas. Release the mighty sons of the Haratirashtra. Set the woman free as well, as Yudhishthira Dharmaraja commands. If you and Harvas do not release the sons of the Haratirashtra peacefully, I will use all my prowess to rescue Suryodhana and his people. With that, the ambidextrous Arjuna unleashes a shower of arrows on the Gandharvas. The Gandharvas respond with an equal torrent of shafts, and the Pandavas retaliate in return. Mahabharata, fierce is the battle that rages between the agile and effervescent Gandharvas and the now impetuous sons of Pandu. Please, tell me that it is war. Let me, yeah. Here we have it. Finally, conflict, a war. It's. Let's go. Listen. Imagine. You can utilize your third eye to picture the stuff that we're reading. Do that. It's wonderful. The depictions given by mere words. Let's see. Canto 243. Okyosha Yatra Parva continued. But Sampayana said, decked in golden garlands and masters of the Astra of heaven, the Gandharvas blazed their arrows at the Pandavas from every side. Since the sons of Pandu number only 4 and the Gandharvas are thousands, the battle that ensues is extraordinary. The Gandharvas tried to shatter the chariots of the four Pandavas as they did the Kauravas, but these tigers among men easily resist the host of elves who rush at them. Those formidable rangers of the skies are arrested on all sides and cannot come near the Pandavas. Arjuna, provoked, prepares to lose his devastras at the enraged and frustrated Gandharvas. His Agneyastra sends 100,000 Gandharvas to Yamaloka. Bhima, foremost of all warriors in battle, kills hundreds of elves with razor-like arrows. And the powerful sons of Madri, battling with scarcely credible energy, encounter hundreds of Gandharvas, O king, and kill them all. As the Gandharvas are raised by the Pandavas with divine astras, they fly up into the sky, taking the sons of the Dharatirashtra with them. But seeing them go, Arjuna shrouds them with a net of magic arrows, trapping them like birds in a cage. In fury, they cast maces, spears, and swords down at Arjuna, but he, the master of astrals, easily repels the attack, then on higher retaliates, mangling and harbour limbs with his crescent-tipped barbs. Heads, legs, and arms begin to fall from the sky in a cascade, and the sight strikes the enemy with panic. The Gandharvas now rain a downpour of shafts on Arjuna, who stands on the ground. The Kshatriya steals the elven shower of arrows with his own, also gravely wounding the Gandharvas. Arjuna summons all his famed astras, Stunakarna, Indrahala, Saura, Agneya, and Saumya. The Gandharvas are consumed by the fiery weapons of Kunti's son and suffer great losses, even as the sons of Diti did when they were torched by Sakra's thunderbolt. When they attack Arjuna from above, his thick mesh of arrows contains theirs. When they attack him from all sides on the ground, his crescent-tipped arrows hold theirs off. Chitrasena sees that the Gandharvas are terrified by Kunti's son, and Mahabharata rushes at the Dhananjaya with his mace. As the king of the Gandharvas hurtles down on Arjuna from above, mace in hand, Arjuna splits that mace into 7 pieces with his immaculate archery. Chitrasena resorts to Maya and continues to fight, now invisible to the Pandava. Arjuna uses many a Devastra to repel all the unworldly weapons that the Gandharva cast at him.
Swear where, Mr. 305, dialing today. I just want to tell you.
Me gusta la Pepsi. Thank you, guys, for the raid. Welcome. We are a conflict war, reading about people. I guess it's the real definition, killing one another. That's the most useful description. But yeah, thank you. I hope a nice stream. I hope you're well, guys. And yeah, welcome. Also, give me a second. Give me a second. I'm doing the my part. I'm doing my part. There it is. There it is. I did the what is it? Shout out. Now let me do the other thing. Oh hi, welcome. How am I doing? Fine. How are you doing? I am doing fine. How are you doing? Sorry. Wait. There it is. There we hide. Wait. No. It's fine. The volume is fine. It's actually fine. I'm doing great. I started a new show a week ago where I actually do things I want to. What? What's up? Wait. It's you cannot read the chat. You cannot do that. It's fine. Don't worry. It's just always a scream. I don't know, man. It's I don't know. Sorry. It's a feature. I guess that's what I can say. But no. No. Yes. But anyways. No, wait. I asked Geyser. I asked, what the fuck were you doing? what were you doing? Can you actually tell me, please?
Even the no, I forgot.
Yeah, everything, absolutely everything. I was playing the horse game, Uma Musume, so keen. Uh, but I wouldn't recommend betting, I guess. That's my word of wisdom. Don't, don't, not betting. Don't pay. Before that, I play Megabonk. Ah, yeah, I haven't seen it. It seems to have been quite a hit game, but I don't know. I like it. That's my personal opinion. Also, no, sorry, I didn't say it. Welcome everyone, plural. I hope you're having a good night. Thank you. Thank you very much. As I was saying, what are we doing is we are reading. What is it? This paragraph? Not a paragraph. Uh, it's a story divided on cantos. An epic story. That's the name of it. That's what's happening. But yeah, um, I don't know. Not much to really say here. It's just the analysis of this thing, I guess. I'm continuing to try and make sense out of it. I don't think that there is actually any kind of particular meaning here. It's just distraction, and it's incredibly funny to read about it. It's let me say it like this: if the Mahabharata is good at something, is at giving very good descriptions of wars. It's like incredibly, I wouldn't say bloody exactly, but rather violent. Even if unavoidably it is all text, it gets to convey that well enough. So yeah, I recommend the fight scenes. I guess that's my point. I don't know. It's not also like I am somebody who reads many of those. I don't really know if this is quality compared to much else or not. I just think that it is good. That's what I think. Thank you. Yeah, where was I? Where? I know I was somewhere, but also I moved I moved the page and I lost myself. I think I was. I'm going to assume I was around here. I am. Anyways, yeah. Let me assume. Let me continue. Citracena sees that the Gandharvas are terrified by Kunji's son, and Mahabharata rushes at Dhananjaya. Ah, yeah. Context, I guess. Just so that we are all on the same page, rapidly. Citracena, the bad guy, Gandharvas, bad guys, Kunji's sons, good guys, Dhananjaya, another bad guy. Arjuna, good guy, I guess. Pandavas, good guys. I don't know. Kshatriyas, good guys. And yeah, that's as much context. I don't know. Another any other thing to say? What is it? Ah, yeah, Devastra equals massacre weapon. I guess that's all that you need to understand so far to follow what's happening. Everything else is just I don't know, crazy. Citracena sees that the Gandharvas are terrified by Kunti's son, and Maharaja rushes at Dhananjaya with his mace. As the king of the Gandharvas hurtles down on Arjuna from above, mace in hand, Arjuna splits that mace into 7 pieces with his immaculate archery. Citracena resorts to Maya and continues to fight, now invisible to the Pandava. Arjuna uses many a Devastra to repel all the unworldly weapons that the Gandharva casts at him, and when Citracena, mantling Maya, now appearing, now disappearing, sees that the son of Kunti still confounds him, the Gandharva vanishes entirely. Seeing the Lord of the Gandharvas vanish, Arjuna, chanting the proper mantras, invokes an astra to rend Citracena's cloak of invisibility, Dhananjaya of the many forms. What? Ah, sorry. Invokes an astra to rend Citracena's cloak of invisibility useless, I guess? Dhananjaya of the many forms, full of rage, fetches the Gandharva Lord back into plain sight with a weapon, Sabda Veda. Assailed by the illustrious Arjuna, his beloved friend Chitrasena reveals himself and says, "Behold, it is your friend who fights you." Arjuna sees that Chitrasena is tired and withdraws his astras. Seeing this, the other Pandavas hold their wind-swift horses and check their weapons and put away their bows. Chitrasena, Bhima, Arjuna, and the twins sit on their chariots and solicitously inquire about one another's welfare. And that's the whole canto. No, actually, no more conflict, actually. Man, it was starting to get so interesting. It's fine. Anyways, it's fine. It's acceptable, I guess. But nothing to really do. It's like that. It tries to be a text about conflict. It doesn't have that much. Now, okay. I guess what I want to see most of them is this next paragraph is going to be something worth analyzing, I assume. But sadly, yeah, it isn't going to be as energetic or as full of any kind of message, of any energetic description. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. It's it has quite different paces when it is just people talking instead of people fighting. But anyways, let's continue. Canto 244. Hosha Yatra Parva continued. Vaisampayana said, Arjuna smiles and says to Chitrasena, who now stands in the midst of this Gandharva host, "My friend, what do you achieve by punishing the Kauravas? Why did you chastise Suryodhana and his wives?" Chitrasena replies, "Dhananjaya, long before I arrived here, I knew why the evil Duryodhana and the wretched Karna were coming here. They knew that you are exiles in the forest and yet you suffer as if you had no one to protect you. These vile men wanted to enjoy the sight of your adversity while they themselves are flush with prosperity. They came here to mock you and to chase Draupadi. The Lord Indra divined their purpose too, and he said to me, 'Go and bring Duryodhana to me in chains, along with his confederates. Always protect Dhananjaya and his brothers in battle, for Arjuna is your dear friend and disciple. At the behest of the king of the Devas, I came here at once. I have the unscrupulous prince in chains, and I will take this sinner now to the Valoka, to the Vendra." Arjuna says, "Oh Chitrasena, if you want to please me, set Suyodhana free, for this is the wish of my brother Yudhishthira Dharmaraja." Chitrasena says, "The sinner is always full of vanity. He does not deserve to be released. Arjuna, he has deceived and wronged both Yudhishthira and Krishna. The Dharmaraja does not know why these wretches came here. Let the king do as he likes, but only after he knows everything." All of them go to Yudhishthira Dharmaraja and tell him about Duryodhana. Ajatasattu hears everything that the Gandharavas say and asks them to set the Kauravas free. He says, "How fortunate we are that you did not kill the son of Dharatirashtra and all his advisors and kin, though with your powers you could easily have done so. O Gandharavas, you have done me a great kindness. You will restore the honor of my clan by releasing these evil men. I am happy to see you. Command me. Tell me what I can do for you. You can return to your home on high once you have what you wish." The Gandharvas are pleased with what the wise Pandava says, and Chitrasena leads his Gandharvas and Apsaras home. The Lord of the Devas comes there and revives the Gandharvas that the Kauravas killed in battle by sprinkling divine Amrita over them. The Pandavas are gratified that they have freed their cousins, their outer relatives, and the women of the royal household. Those awesome Kshatriyas glow in splendor like fires blazing in a Yagnasala. As the Gurus, their wives and sons pay homage to them. Yudhishthira then addresses Duryodhana in the midst of his brothers, saying affectionately, "Child, never do such an imprudent thing again. Maharata, a rash man never achieves happiness. Guru Nandana, may you and your brothers be blessed. Go back to your capital whenever you wish, without sorrow or despair. When the son of Pandu gives him leave to go, Duryodhana salutes Yudhishthira Dharmaraja, and, his heart torn with shame, sets out woodenly for Hastinapura, like one whose very life has left him. After the Kaurava prince has gone, the Brahmanas adulate the noble Yudhishthira and his heroic brothers, even like the Devas worship Sakra, and surrounded by those Brahmanas rich in tapasya Shakti, Yudhishthira passes his days contentedly in Dvaitavana. That's Canto 300, no, 244. Now, questions. What does this have any message? Something that we can actually extract? I think the most important thing is, yeah, unavoidably. Okay, just in case. Basically, the Pandavas and the Kurus are enemies. The Kurus were captured by the Gandharavas. And even if the Pandavas and the Kurus are enemies, the Pandavas understood that they could help the Kurus not die, so they can put aside their differences, I guess, to be capable of saving one another in that sense. So there is some sort of, I guess, honor in that, higher value in being capable of doing things like that, making amends with other people and allowing them to keep on going, even if we have different conflicts. And think that is as much of a message as it gets to have. In any way, I don't think there is much more, particularly being said in any other way or in any other place. The rest is just, I guess, for yeah, absolute procedure and not much more. I think so. We have like, as always, that's something very funny to see. Once we can slowly get accustomed to it, it's full of very much meaningless actions, meaningless events that don't really contribute to anything else. They are just there. As I always say, to move the plot forward, they don't really possess any kind of message. But it's good. Yes. Next canto. Canto 245. Hosha Yatra Parva continued. Hanamihaya said, after his defeat and capture by the Gandharavas and his rescue by the illustrious sons of Pandu, it seems to me that the entry into Hastinapura of the proud, evil, vicious, insolent Duryodhana, who so and so it insulting the Pandavas and bragging about his own superiority, must have been difficult. Describe it to me in detail. Oh, Vaisambhayana, how did that prince enter his city, overwhelmed as he was with shame and unmanned by grief? Vaisambhayana said, dismissed by Yudhishthira Dharmaraja, Dharatirashtra's son, Suyudhana, bends his head in shame and, tormented by shame and melancholy, sets out slowly. He rides toward his city, accompanied by his four forces, his heart ruptured by sorrow and his mind filled with the memory of his defeat. Along the way, in a place large with grass and plentiful water, the king makes camp with his elephants, horses, foot soldiers, and chariots. Duryodhana is seated on a raised bedstead that is as magnificent as a burning fire, looking like the eclipsed moon. When, towards the small hours of the morning, Karna arrives there and says to him, son of Gandhari. It is fortunate indeed that you are alive, and fortunate, too, that we meet again. It is by great fortune that you vanquished the Gandharavas, who can assume any form at will, and Kurunandana, it is by good fortune alone that I see that your mighty brothers have vanquished their foes and emerged victorious. As for myself, assailed by the Gandharvas, I fled before your very eyes and could not rally your terrified forces. My body mangled by enemy arrows. I sought safety. Maharata, I marvel at seeing all of you emerge safe and sound, with your wives, troops, and chariots, out of that superhuman encounter. No other man in this world could do what you, O king, with your brothers have achieved in battle today. But Duryodhana replies to the king of the Angas in a voice choked with tears. Here we go. Why is the response separated in another canto? Anyways, let, let me let me read. Canto 246. Hosa Yatra Parva continued. What was the last line? Choked in tears. Hannah says, "Oh, Kaya, you do not know what happened, and so I am not upset by what you say. You think that it is with my prowess that I killed the hostile Alcaravas? Abajo, my brothers and I did indeed engage in a long battle with the Sky Rangers. Both sides suffered heavy casualties. But when the Gandharvas took to the air with their magical powers and began to fight us from there, our contention became unequal. We were defeated and taken captive. The Gandharvas took us, snared like animals in a net and in agony. They carried away our troops, our chariots, our wives, and our children through the skies. It was then that some of our bold men went in despair to the sons of Pandu. Those Atreus that never refuse help to those that ask for it. They said to the Pandavas, Durgaskana, the son of the Haratirashtra, with his younger brothers, his friends and wives, has been captured and is being borne away through the sky by the Gandharvas. Blessings be upon you. Liberate the king and the woman of the royal household. Do not allow the royal ladies to be insulted. When they say this, Pandus eldest son, that virgin soul, pacified his brothers and commanded them to free us. Those 4 bulls among men overtook the Gandharvas and asked them gently to release us, although they could have easily secured our freedom with their prodigious strength. Though others, in conciliatory words, the Gandharvas refused to release us. Then Arjuna, Bhima and the twins shot arrows at the sky rangers, who abandoned the fight and fled through the sky, gleefully dragging us behind them in our stricken state. Immediately, we saw the high spread a net of arrows all around them. At the same time, loose hissed the Vastras at the enemy. Seeing all the horizon covered by Arjuna's arrowy net, Arjuna's friend, the Gandharva king, revealed himself. Chitrasena and Arjuna embraced each other and inquired after each other's welfare. The sons of Pandu also embraced the lord of the Gandharvas and were embraced by him in return. And warm and courageous civilities passed between them as well. The Gandharvas threw down their weapons and armor and mingled in friendship with the Pandavas. And Chitrasena and Dhananjaya lovingly worshipped each other. It doesn't enter. Does it enter? It why is it so separated? Um, I guess. Yeah, at this point I'm sort of being surprised by the way in which it is structured, I guess. That's my best comment. It's so weird. Why is it structured like this? Why is it so interrupted? Its own narration in this case. It anyways. Um, okay, let me do one more canto. After that, yeah, we're done today. Canto 247. Jose Yatra Parva continued. Duryodhana says, Arjuna smilingly said to Chitrasena, Best of Gandharvas, you must release my brothers. They will not be humiliated as long as the sons of Pandu live. O Karna, the lord of the Gandharvas then disclosed our reason for having gone there, that we went there to feast our eyes on the plight of the Pandavas and their wife. When the Gandharva exposed us, I was so ashamed that I wished the earth would open and swallow me. The Gandharvas and the Pandavas went to Yudhishthira, and after telling him why we had gone there, handed us over to him. What greater sorrow could be mine than that I shall be offered as a tribute to Yudhishthira at the very sight of the woman of our household, bound in chains and miserable, a prisoner of my enemies. They that I have always maligned and tormented, to whom I have always been an enemy, released me, and wretched that I am, I owe them my life. It would have been far better to have died in battle than for my life to have been spared in this way. The Gandharvas had killed me. My fame would have spread across the earth, and I would have attained eternal bliss in Indraloka. Listen, listen, oh Manava, Risabhas, to what I intend to do next. I will remain here, not eating while you return home. Let my brothers also go to Hastinapura. Let all our friends, including Karna, and all our relatives, let now by Dusasana return to the city of the elephant. My enemies have shamed me, and I will not go to Hastinapura. I, who stripped my adversaries of honor, who always enjoyed the esteem of my friends, had now become a source of shame to my own and one of joy to my enemies. What will I say to the king if I go to Hastinapura? What will Bhishma, Drona, Karipa, Drona's son, Vidura, Sanjaya, Vahuka, Sumadata, and other revered elders say to me? What will the elders of the other Varnas and the prominent men of independent profession say to me? And how will I answer them? Until now I have stood over the heads of my enemies and planted my feet on their breast. But now I have fallen. How can I ever face or speak to them? Insolent men who become prosperous and gain knowledge and affluence are rarely blessed for long. Even like me who was puffed up with vanity. Alas, folly led me to a vile path, and because of my foolishness, I have sunk to these depths. And so I will starve myself to death, for my life has become unbearable. What man wants to out his days after he has been saved by his enemy? Proud as I am, my enemy stripped me of my dignity and laughed at me. The Pandavas have seen me plunged in wretchedness. Now Duryodhana turns to Dusasana. Oh, Dusasana, listen to me. Mahabharata, be king in my place. Rule the earth, protected by Karna and Subala's son. Just as Indra looks after the Maruts, take care of your brothers in such a way that they will rest their faith and confidence in you. Let your friends and relatives depend on you, like the gods depend on him of the 100 yagnas. Always bestow wealth on Brahmanas, promptly and always be the refuge of your friends and family. As Vishnu looks after the devas, you must look after all your relatives. You must always cherish your gurus. Go, rule the earth, love your friends and chastise your foes. And embracing Dusasana, Duryodhana says, Go! Dusasana is overwhelmed by sorrow when he hears this, his voice choked, and with hands joined prayerfully, he bows his head and says to his elder brother, his heart so heavy, he falls on the ground in sheering grief. That tiger among men sheds tears on his brother's feet and says, Never, this will never be. The earth will split, the vault of the sky must shatter, the sun might cast off his splendor,
The moon abandoned his coolness, the wind forsake his speed, Kimovat may move from his place, the waters of the ocean may dry up and far renounce his heat, but I, O king, will not rule the air without you. Repeatedly saying, relent, Rahan, you alone shall be king of our race for 100 years. Dusasana weeps at the feet of his elder brother, whom he adores. O Mahabharata, seeing Dusasana and Duryodhana sobbing, Karna says to them, O Guru princess, why do you begin to sorrow like children, like ordinary men? Can you erase a man's grief? What do you gain by giving way to sorrow? Summon patience. Do not give your enemies cause to be joyful. Suyothana, the Pandavas only did their duty by freeing you. The subjects of a king must always do what is pleasing to the king. The Pandavas are living happily in your kingdom and under your protection. It is not fitting for you to indulge your anguish like any common man. Look how despondent your brothers are to hear that you want to put an end to your life. May you be blessed. Arise, return to your city and console your brothers.
And that is Canto 245, I think. Okay, final Canto for the. I guess it's the only one that I can minimally analyze from all the stuff that we have read. Thank God. Let me do it a little bit rapidly. The point itself is the discussion of how, in many cases, we can lose our pride, the pride of believing that we have become something which in reality we have not gotten to be. The term itself will be to live in a lie in which we make ourselves look like very capable human beings, while in the moment of being confronted by the true problems that arise in actuality, we find out that we are actually quite incapable of handling ourselves and handling those situations. That, that sort of dishonor, that sort of sadness is intense enough that even somebody who might have been fully self absorbed might come to the realization. In this case, I guess it's the utmost worst conclusion. I should kill myself because I felt so hard. But I guess it's in general, it should be something more along the lines of just, yeah, I understand. I have these things that I should be trying to fix. I have this stuff that I should be trying to do better and whatnot. And yeah, it's understandable still. They are trying to reconcile that with the fact that, yeah, still, the Kurus are incredibly horrible people. So not only they got pardoned, they got saved, they got destroyed and ridiculed. It's it's a whole mess of so many things happening to the worst people possible. Just to once again show them how bad they are. And it's also, to some other degree, that there this aspect of the ego shattering because the Kurus see how utterly powerless they are in comparison to the Pandavas, who, despite having been punished for the wrongdoings of the Kurus, have become only even more, I guess, divine. I don't know if that is the proper definition, but yeah, more closer to the divinities, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. Any other message? I don't think there is anything else to actually analyze. I mean, oh wow, it has themes of. I don't know, bro. It has many themes. We shouldn't be concerning ourselves with which theme does this particular narration occupy itself with the most and whatnot. The point is that it works. The point is that it makes sense. So that's that should be sufficient for us. And yeah, as I said, anyways, we it has been quite a good day, but also we have analyzed enough for today. No more, no more reading. It took long enough already. So yeah, uh, let me this one. Hello, good evening. yeah, we were done. I guess it was a very good day, but as always, it's time to say goodbye. I guess. I don't know. Ah, it was very good, yeah. And I don't know. I haven't really said anything about it. I have linked the schedule of this week. It's pinned. Probably can click that. See what's up with that. I don't know. At some point later in the week, we are going to probably revisit the Mahabharata to keep on reading. Now, I should probably save the page before I forget to do so, and I end up realizing that I don't have stuff there to allow myself to remember which page we left on last time. So yeah. Anyways, that's it. Thanks for being here. Thanks for everything. It was a very nice occasion. Have a good night, good day, good life. Thanks for the time, for the patience, for the interest, and yeah. Um, until next time, and even if that doesn't happen, thanks for everything. Keep yourself safe. Good luck.